Hi, we'll be starting our LinkedIn webinar in a couple of minutes at 1 o'clock. Thank you for joining. Those of you that are joining, we'll start our LinkedIn webinar in a couple of minutes at 1 o'clock. So good afternoon to those of you that have joined us, and welcome. According to my laptop and my iPhone, it's 1 o'clock. So I welcome you and thank you for joining us on this webinar for the next hour on how to get more business, more sales and more opportunities through your use of LinkedIn. I know most of you know of us. My name's Andy Gwynn. For the last 11 years, I've been coaching business owners and salespeople on how to grow businesses and get more business. And for the last 3 to 4 years especially, I've been using LinkedIn extensively. LinkedIn is now 11 years old, and it's really only the last 4 years or so that it's grown massively from about 2 million personal profiles to over 15 million just in the last 4 years in the UK alone. And depending what figures you read, there's in excess of 300 million personal profiles and users globally. So it's a massively powerful tool that I'm going to give you some ideas on perhaps how you can utilize it even more. I started getting business for myself through the use of LinkedIn, and then naturally started coaching my coaching clients, my business owner clients, to do the same, and then realized that there was such a demand because there's so many people on it but not really utilizing it and not understanding how to, because there's so many different perceptions out there about LinkedIn and what it is and what people do with it. Then I started generating separate revenue streams through workshops, in-house workshops into companies training their teams, their sales teams. I've coached and trained people how to find work through the use of LinkedIn, how to get business, how to gain sales, how to gain connections from your desk anywhere in the world. And coaching people and small groups sort of weekly over a 90-day, 12-week period on how to utilize some of the key things I'm going to give you this afternoon. To the point that we got so busy, and there was so much demand, we were getting so much work in, that from the beginning of this year we decided that we could franchise it. We needed to franchise it to bring on other trainers and coaches that wanted to generate the same sort of revenue, because there is so much demand out there. People are coming to us saying we need help on how to use it more. So the ability to sell LinkedIn training and coaching is very easy, and for a lot of people it can also help them get in through doors to their ideal client to cross-sell and upsell their other parts of their business as well, maybe. So I've said there's over 15 million personal profiles in the UK. I want to dispel or give you my take as a business coach and a marketeer on how you can use LinkedIn to generate more business. There's a couple of sides to LinkedIn that I'm going to take you through and cover. There are a bunch of misperceptions, I think. My definition of LinkedIn is that it is an online networking tool that allows you to find, connect with, and engage with your ideal connection. I use the word connection because for some people it may not be sales prospects. I've coached property investors to find financiers, to find cash investors, to find deals. I've coached people who want to find other suppliers. I presented this to the Chartered Institute of Purchase and Supply. So I use the word connections rather than just leads or prospects, because it doesn't have to be just in a sales context. So it's an online networking tool. So really the same rules that apply in a physical networking, if you went to a Chamber of Commerce networking event, the same rules apply. You're just on your laptop or on your desktop. The challenge is a lot of people out there don't know how to network effectively. So I very much come at it from a business point of view. And what I would say to you is, as we go through these things this afternoon, then wear two hats and ask yourself how you can apply these principles to the rest of your marketing strategy and the rest of your business plan and elsewhere in your business. Because I don't believe you can just touch one part of a business without it impacting elsewhere. And a great example was I got 4 or 5 weeks through my 12-week coaching program with a client, and he just said, hang this, you've got me thinking so much about different parts of my business. I want you to coach me around my whole business growth over a much longer period of time. So I want you to wear two hats and think where else you can apply these philosophies elsewhere in your businesses or your work. So it's an online networking tool. It's also a tool to, as I've said, to be able to find, connect with and engage with your ideal connection. So really the main outcome for my use of LinkedIn is to get that conversation with my ideal prospect, my ideal connection. LinkedIn isn't going to sell for you. You've then got to arrange the business meeting or the sales meeting or whatever it might be, but LinkedIn will get you that conversation to the point that almost any business, I can guarantee, if I work with you over 12 weeks, to get you at least to that conversation, and probably more than once. And once you've learned how to do that, you can obviously repeat it forever and ever, and it's free, or pretty much free, even if you upgrade, and I'll sort of touch on that, but it's free to use. You just need your internet connection. So it's an amazing tool. So it's an online networking tool, and it's a tool to get you to be able to help you find and then get a conversation with your ideal business connection. And so there's two parts for me with LinkedIn. I'm going to use the word personal profile lots. It's a personal profile. It's not an online CV. I think it's massively more than just that. But it's a personal profile, so it's about you. So I'm going to give you some first step, really, first part of the glue is to create a powerful personal profile that gets found. And when it gets found, it engages with the reader and gives them value and establishes you with credibility. More and more people now are searching on LinkedIn. So if I wanted a lawyer, my first step would probably be to go and search through LinkedIn as to who do I know, or who do I know that knows that's connected to somebody. And at some level, certainly when you create your profile powerfully, it will get found at some level within Google as well. So if you're not utilizing your LinkedIn profile, then you're missing massive opportunities. People will also find you from what I call surfing rather than just searching. LinkedIn is brilliant at making suggestions as to who else you know, You can see my profile now. To the right, it says people that I may know. I might drill into those profiles there and find somebody I'm interested in connecting with. So it makes all sorts of suggestions. People have also viewed someone else's profile. I can see your connections. You can see mine. I can look at connections. People find you from surfing. So again, if you're not utilizing LinkedIn, you're missing out on lots of opportunity. And people are also using it as a communication tool. For me, it's my central hub of my marketing tool. I will use it to go and connect with somebody before I go meet with them. If somebody's contacted us from some of our other marketing, I'll go search and research them maybe on LinkedIn. So people are using it as a tool to do due diligence on you. They can do it much faster now than any time in history to be able to find out about you before they buy from you. So people will find you from surfing as well as searching, and it will show up at some level in Google searches as well as people searching on LinkedIn. But it's also a communication tool. If I want to contact my solicitor, if I call him, he'll probably call me back at the end of the day or the next day. I'll get through to his PA. If I email him, he'll probably respond to emails at the end of the day. But if I send him an instant message through LinkedIn, it comes straight back to me because it pops up in his server or in his emails or on his screen. So really, people that are sat at their desk working. Same with my web designer. I'll get a much quicker response if I communicate with him through LinkedIn because he's sat there all day long. And it's instant, certainly for conversations. So if I said, are you free to meet up next Wednesday? No, I'm not available Wednesday. What about Thursday? Well, okay, what about 9 o'clock? Well, what about in the afternoon? That sort of conversation can happen much quicker and easier than it can through my email service, for example. So people are using it as a communication tool as well as a networking tool. So for me, there's two parts to this. One is creating a powerful profile that A, gets found, and B, gives value and engages with the reader to establish you with credibility. The second thing is what you do as a strategy to go out on a consistent basis to find, connect with, and engage with your ideal contacts. There's little point, I think, going to connect with people if when they connect with you or see you, they look at your profile and it's weak or uninspiring. So it really is a two-part glue. So some of the things I'll go through that I know you guys have had access to my 9 points to a powerful profile. I'm going to cover some of the key points in there. You will pretty much see by visiting other people's profiles that they're not adopting these strategies. And if someone hasn't created a profile in the sort of way that I talk about, then it's pretty much odds on that they're not using it strategically as an activity on a regular basis effectively either. So let's look first of all at the personal profile. I'm going to run through a couple of key things and then really sort of drill into what I think are two of the main and most important parts of it. And then we'll look at the strategy, and I'm going to show you how you can find virtually anybody you ever want to connect with at any time. And I'm going to show you the power of what can be achieved based on my experiences and the connections that I have. So let's look at the profile. First thing is your photo. Let me just backtrack one step first of all and position this in the first instance. LinkedIn is obviously a leviathan. It's a huge website. It's got over 300 million users. LinkedIn is brilliant at innovating. It constantly updates and changes and adds new features, and I like that. Some of it's very, very powerful. The flip side of that is it constantly changes. And if you're the sort of person, and sometimes it contradicts itself, sometimes it does something and you think, why have you done that? And if you're the sort of person that angsts over it and the attention to detail and maybe some of the contradictions, you'll drive yourself mad. Very much what I teach and work with my clients on is to say, look, let's look at how we can use this to develop more business. So if there's something that happens or changes and we don't know why, we don't particularly like it, get over it. Let's work around it, over it, under it, through it, to help it serve us best and the outcome that I want. I sort of want to say that because there are changes. You can see behind my photo here that there's a banner, and I'm not happy with how I've set that up. I'm not sure I particularly like the feature, but it's there. I need to utilize it. Am I going to angst over it? No, because most other users that visit my profile aren't going to be looking at it in the detail that I am. So I sort of wanted to say that to begin with. So let's look at the profile. First thing is your photograph. Now your photograph, I've got some simple rules. One is it needs to be a head and shoulders shot, ideally on a plain background. This is a personal profile. People buy from people. I want to be creating relationships and creating rapport with my prospective clients or business contacts. So I want people to feel like they know me. So my photograph really needs to represent what they would expect to see if I walked through their door in a business meeting. So not like an accountancy client of mine once did. It was a photo of her sat outside a tent in well, I've forgotten the name of Glastonbury. It's not the image that you want to portray in your business. I had the client recently update the photo, sent it me through, and it had got a full body shot. And I said, it's great, but I can't see your face. I want to see you. I want to know who you are. So it probably, I would suggest it might be worth investing in a professional photographer, because if he takes a whole bank of photos, I use a different photo on my business card. I have photographs on my Twitter account, on my websites. You can be using them elsewhere. So that's my thoughts around a photograph. I actually met someone the other day who says, I don't connect with people if they don't have a photo, because I'm wondering, what are they doing? Are they trying to hide something? You know, if you walked into a physical networking meeting, you're there to be seen. So why wouldn't you have a photograph? So it's worth investing maybe some time to get them done properly if you haven't, because again, you can use them elsewhere in your business. Your name needs to be as you want to be called. I met a guy the other day, his profile said Andrew. Everyone in the room referred to him as Andy, and I said, which is it? He said, well, it's Andy. I said, why have you got Andrew? Oh, well, my boss calls me Andrew. He said, what do you want to be known by? And I connected with a lady called Jackie, who signed her emails as Jackie, but her profile was as Jacqueline. I said, which is it? Now, here's a marketing rule. I'm going to give you a few of my marketing rules. Make it easy for people to respond. Make it easy for people to buy. So actually make it easy for them to know what to refer to you as. And avoid any letters at the end of your name. I do a fair bit of work in the insurance industry, and insurance salesmen have to qualify after the study, and they're quite proud of their qualifications. But here's another marketing rule. Your clients don't care about you. And so whenever I critique a client's work, I will run it past my so what test. I'll read it and I'll go, so what? If it said Andy Gwynn, MBA, MRP, CIP, I'm going to go, so what? I don't care. And actually LinkedIn have made it easy for you. Further down there is a section on where you can put your professional qualifications. So utilize that. Let the name be what you want it to be, what you want to be known. I appreciate there might be a bit of ego in and being proud of having the letters you've got and the qualifications. That's fine. If you really are in an industry where it's important, there's a section further down for that. So that's your name and that's your photograph. I'm going to come on to the main part underneath your name that you can see hopefully with my mouse is what I call the headline. Now the headline, for those of you that understand marketing, the headline in any marketing and any sales is the most important part of any message. If you make cold telephone sales, then your opening 3 or 30 seconds, your headline speech is the most important. By the way, I haven't done any cold calling for over 4 years, because all of my telephone conversations now are with permission, because I've connected and engaged with the person through LinkedIn first. So it takes away the need for cold calling. And I rolled this out to a bunch of salespeople, and the sales director sort of squirmed, and I said, what have I done wrong? He said, nothing really, I've just spent 8 grand training these guys on telesale. Salary, because now, in whatever context, my conversations with people are with permission. But your headline is the most important. Nowadays, we really appreciate this, because with email, your headline is your subject line. And you probably know that if the subject line doesn't grab your attention or your interest, you probably won't even open the email, let alone read it. So your headline has to grab attention, and it has to say what you do. And the other marketing principle alongside my so what critique is WIFM, W-I-I-F-M. It stands for what's in it for me. When you're putting anything together, you need to put yourself in the reader's shoes, and you need to ask yourself what's in it for me. So if your headline says, I'm the MD of blah blah company, so what? I don't know, and I don't particularly care. I don't know what that means to me. So you'll see on my headline, I've got building a network of passionate trainers and coaches. Now, if someone's interested in becoming a trainer and coach, they're going to read on, and those are the people I want to target. So you need to think about, the headline needs to identify your target market and what it is you do for them. So previously to franchising, I targeted the franchise industry as a business coach, and my headline read, helping great franchises generate more sales. Within weeks of creating that headline, I had 2 franchisors contact me saying, can you help us with our sales? I had 2 franchisees contact me and say, can you help us? And I actually had 2 business owners, all groups of 2, contact me and say, we're thinking of franchising our business. Can you help me? Now, if an accountant rang me and said, can you help me with sales? Then yes, of course. But for the sake of the headline, I want you need to pick a niche, you need to pick a lane. I'm sure most people are involved in a range of services, a range of products, a range of target markets they want to get to. I want you to think of the most important one to you. So when we come on to the summary underneath, that's where you've got a lot more space to explain more about what you do. And it's quite interesting. I've had lots of cases and examples where clients, once they've got their headline powerful, have inbound people coming to them because they find them. I don't advocate that you're working on LinkedIn expecting inbound. It's about what you do proactively to go out and engage after, but it will happen at some level. I worked with another business coach, and he wanted to niche into family businesses and help them with succession planning. And his headline read something like helping family businesses stick together and grow together. There's often a lot of dynamics within family businesses. And within a couple of weeks, he sent me an email, and this email was from someone who contacted him and said, "I come across your profile. We're a 5th-generation family business, and we've got a lot of issues and dynamics within the family. And we have gone out and employed an outside managing director, thinking that would help. But it's actually caused a challenge with one of the other family members. And we came across your profile and wondered if you could help." And he sent me this email and said, "Are you winding me up?" And when I spoke to him, I said, "What do you mean?" He thought I'd set this guy up to contact him. I said, no. When you niche into your target market, you become known as the expert. You build quicker credibility. People will find you. And if you say you're an expert somewhere, they think you're good at what you do because you've asked for them. So you need to think about picking a niche, and you need to think about what it is you do for the client. So I help great franchises and make it emotive, generate more sales. You can have a look through my profile and you can see some of the examples. You'll notice the type of headlines and you'll know that they're sort of clients or associates of mine. Because the other thing then you need is a couple of search words. So I've gone then LinkedIn trainer and speaker. And I've broken it up with thick black stars. Here's a tip. When you go into edit profile and you can't find stars in LinkedIn, so copy and paste mine. I copied and pasted them from a Word document. The reason I use them is it breaks up the WIFM statement, building a network of passionate trainers and coaches. It breaks that up with search terms. So I've got star at the beginning, star LinkedIn trainer, star speaker, star. It stands out. Don't fall into the belief that when you look through some of my contacts down the right hand side of who people have also viewed, that these guys are all doing it. They are, because I live with a lady at the top, I work with a lady below, Simon's a client friend of mine, Adam's a client, Gavin's a client, Joe's a client. All these guys are clients. Guess who's not doing it? And he's the one person I haven't coached. He's a good friend of mine. So when you look through yours, you'll notice that most people's headline is just ineffective, and so many people's headlines just state what they do. So by all means, have a look through my connections and see what they've come up with to help you with some ideas. I will often work with clients over the first 1 or 2, 3 weeks, coaching them around brainstorming, getting a powerful headline. And let it be a work in progress. You know, if you wake up a week later and you tweak it, that's fine. So for me, the headline is the most powerful. Just out of interest, if you Google my name, you'll see 3rd or 4th up is my LinkedIn profile, and it's that headline that you see. So that headline really needs to stand out. You know, I've coached, she was an osteopath in Gloucestershire or something. Their headline was helping the people of Gloucester alleviate back pain. Of course, she can help you with neck pain and knee pain, but the biggest area she wanted to focus on was back pain. There's more people with it, and she wanted to niche geographically into the Gloucester area. So you could niche into industry type, into contact type, or into geography type. So have a think about what you need to do with that. Just touching on premium, you don't really need to upgrade onto premium, in my view, until the biggest advantage for me with premium is it allows me to see the last 90 days of people that have viewed my profile. And I've gained business from that strategy by connecting with them. You can see the last 5 people that have viewed your profile, and as long as you can regularly check in on that and stay on top of that, you may not need it to. The next part of your profile needs to be the summary. The summary is where you can then go to town and talk more about what you do and think of you language. Here's how my clients benefit. One of my proudest achievements is coaching a client from 0 to $1 million sale. Make it tangible. Make it, if someone's interested in growing their business to $1 million, that's going to grab their attention. My LinkedIn and social media clients are generating new leads. Break it up. Make things stand out. And here's a couple of rules around the summary. It's a personal profile, remember. So make it engaging. And hello, and thank you for taking the time to view my profile. Ask for who you want. It's not actually on there. I'm in the middle of sort of updating mine as well and playing around with it a little because our business has changed. But ask for who you want. I'm always looking to connect with sales directors in the Midlands area. I'm always looking to connect with purchasing managers in the IT industry. Ask for who you want. Big mistake. Most people in sales just don't ask for who they're looking to connect with and sell to. And offer them free advice. If you would like any free advice on how to save money on your inkjet cartridges, feel free to contact me directly. Somebody said to me, well, aren't I giving away too much information? No, I want people to call me. I want it to be easy for people to contact me. I'll soon filter them out as to whether they're potential business prospects or not. And then make it personal. I'm sort of a little bit to the point occasionally, and I could perhaps pad this out a little bit more. I go outside of work, I'm a key motorcyclist and scuba diver. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was on their profile looking at them while I'm talking to them, which is an added value from LinkedIn because I can see them. So I feel like I've got a better relationship. And he had also got on there who's a scuba diver, so we start talking. Suddenly the level of rapport is at a much higher level before I've even met the person. So think about and invest some time in writing the summary so that it engages in that way. Avoid lots of we language. We've been in business 90 years. We're big enough to cope, small enough to care. I went to university and got X, Y, and Z. Who cares? Make it, here's what you can achieve by doing business with me. Here's how I can help you make more money, save more time, avoid stress, keep relationships for longer. Whatever it might be that you do for the client. And write it as if it's you talking. I struggle with big corporate speak. My brother's a commercial property lawyer in a big corporate entity, so he tends to write not just in corporate speak but legal speak, and it doesn't make it sound as though you're talking to him. I'll touch on uploads. You can upload under these sections videos, and further down you'll see you can upload documents. You want to be adding value. Remember, I said your profile has got to give value to the reader. So booktips are often a good starting point. This is a video testimonial of a client of mine. This is me waxing lyrically about how you can get more business with LinkedIn. Here's an example of testimonials of people that have got results. Here's the content to my LinkedIn coaching program. Here's a document I put together called the 10 Reasons People Aren't Getting Business Through LinkedIn. I've got further down, I've got 7 biggest recruitment mistakes business owners make. I've got an article that I had published in a magazine. I've got a huge document there on how to get business by working strategically with other businesses. So you want to put value into your profile so that you are perceived as the expert, you get great credibility, and you're giving value to the reader. Because if you read my 10 top tips on how to recruit more effectively, and it all makes sense, and you're looking to recruit or you want someone to coach you and help you recruiting, you're probably going to come to me. I had a phone call a long while ago, and we'll come on to testimonials, but the power of video, we're in 2014, guys. And the amount of people that I meet that say, I get recommendations, and I've got testimonials from clients, but not on video. I have got tens of thousands of pounds worth of business by use from video testimonials. I had a guy call me and said, can you come and train my sales team? And I said, just tell me where you got my name from. He said, I found your website. I said, yes, but there's a million sales training websites out there. What made you call me? He said, I saw your video testimonials and I thought you must be good. I said, great, thank you. Just out of interest, how many other people are you speaking to? He said, none. Why? Well, no reason. Let's speak. Let's meet. And I got the business. If you were to Google accountants and you're looking for a new accountant, and a website comes up and it's got video testimonials of their clients saying how much tax they've saved, how effective they've been, how much less stress and blah, and the next website you look at doesn't have any video testimonials, I'll bet you're going to ring the people who've got the video testimonials. Because nowadays, there's a great book called The New Experts by Robert Bloom. And it talks about how we are as modern day consumers and buyers. And we have more information at our fingertips. Your clients and your prospects will do more due diligence on you than they've ever been done before they even pick up the phone to speak with you. So you need to give them this value, and you need to give them this information so they can do their due diligence. Because if you don't and your competitor does, you're missing a massive opportunity. So you've got the ability here to upload all sorts of documents and videos. That's a link to our franchisee website for people interested in becoming LinkedIn trainers and coaches. Mirror the format of mine by all means. Then in your experience is your jobs. This is where people confuse it and say, it's a CV. You can get creative. You can break it up. This says 3 Degrees Social Coaches Coach. Underneath it says LinkedIn Trainer and Coach. Underneath it says Business Coach, Speaker and Trainer. It's the same business. But by breaking it up, I can capture recommendations. We call them testimonials. LinkedIn call them recommendations. I can capture recommendations by each section. So when I work with an insurance broker, we split commercial insurance as one section and high net worth domestic insurance as another, so that we could capture testimonials. But because if I'm looking to insure my white van, I don't really want to read about how effective he was helping someone insure their swimming pool and vice versa. So this is where you can get creative with LinkedIn to utilize it. Now, make the experience sections relevant. So if you've written your summary well enough, you don't need lots of text under each section, I don't think. Just a few lines maybe focusing on, again, what you do. I have a shareholding in this business. We provide sound, PA, lighting, staging, video for conferences and events. So a couple of 3 lines. And make it relevant. So I go back to when I was a branch manager. I don't go back to the 3 or 4 sales reps jobs and the purchasing job and working in the warehouse as a van driver at 17, because it's not relevant to what I do now. Again, it's a bit of ego. I don't need War and Peace on everything you've done for your lifetime. Because if your headline is powerful and your summary, then that grabs my attention, I'm going to read your summary. If your summary then tells me what's in it for me, I'm probably just going to connect with you and contact you. If I'm going to do business with you and I want to do lots more due diligence, I may drill down into all the experiences by all means. And one of the unique things for me, I think, with LinkedIn is that your clients can go and post recommendations on your profile. They have to be connected with you. They have to go out of their way to do it. And so if anybody does that for me, I'll certainly thank them, because they've had to go and write it. But here's what I think is the unique thing. I'm sure your web designer might be able to say it does the same, but LinkedIn got it for you. If you were looking to buy from them, you could go, or if you were looking to have me coach you through the use of LinkedIn, and you wanted to do some due diligence, how good is it? You can read this testimonial first of all, which is great. Michelle was a phenomenal client. She's been getting business and building connections through LinkedIn. But you can go click on that profile now, and you can go send her a message, and you can say, "Can I speak with you?" You can say, "You've given Andy a recommendation. Is it true? What about this and this? Can you help me with this?" You can now go and talk to the person who's given the testimonial. It's what I call client-generated content. It can't be falsified for the cynical people out there. It's not like I've captured or maybe written. I've had people say, yeah, you write the recommendation, I'll sign it, you can use it in your marketing. It's sort of not congruent. So one of the things you need to do is to be building up recommendations. Because remember, this profile is all about establishing credibility. Now, okay, I've got lots because I run workshops and I can capture lots at a time. My suggestion is you set a target for a number. But also then you want to consistently be collecting recommendations, because they're dated, as you can see here. So if my last recommendation was July 2010, a snapshot thought from you might be, well, what's happened to it? He's gone off the boil. Is he not serving his clients? I have a formula that is MA times RS times C equals R. And it stands for massive action times the right stuff times consistently equals results. Because you can go and make 1,000 telemarketing calls multiplied by the right stuff. If your script is terrible and your tonality is awful and your ability to build rapport is naff, then 1,000 times 0 equals 0. And if you make 1,000 telephone calls and your script is great and your rapport and your sales ability on the phone is great, 1,000 times brilliant times, you only do it for one day or 1 week, so that consistently equals 0. 1,000 times 1,000 times 0 equals 0. So I use this with my business owner clients to look at what, if you're not getting the results you want, which part of that do you need to address? This webinar is about looking at some of the right stuff, but you may need to take massive action at the front end to build some testimonials, recommendations, and I'd suggest 10 plus is a number that's got some credibility to begin with. But then the C, the consistently, is to consistently each month be capturing new recommendations, and of course you can be using them somewhere else. I've got lots, and I've got some that are fluffy. You know, Andy was really nice, it was all lovely and warm, which doesn't tell the people that are interested in results. So I've got some very powerful recommendations. So I went through them and lifted and copied the few that are very tangible, and I put it into a document called Results Laden LinkedIn Testimonials. Again, this is where you can get creative. And I get lots of views on that, so it tells me that people are obviously interested in cutting to the chase and seeing the results. You know, I applied some of the stuff Andy taught me, and I got a contract worth $9 grand that I wouldn't have even found that guy or known that guy existed without LinkedIn. So again, you can get creative, but part of your consistently is to build up recommendations. Now, further down, this is fairly new with LinkedIn in the last year or so, skills and endorsements. There's a lot of people complain about this, and again, remember my rule at the beginning: just get over it. Let's make it work for us. It's there. First of all, the skills you can choose for yourself help in search terms. So I want to be utilizing a lot of search terms that I want people to find me for. Secondly, if someone looks at this and there's only a few endorsements and no photographs, they're going to say, is he not that good? Yes, I accept that people endorse me who I've never really met or certainly not worked with, and I don't understand that, other than they think they want to get endorsements back and they should be endorsing people. I had someone connect with me, and we'll move into the strategy because it sort of fits with it. And I said, why have you connected with me? Here's what I do when I get connection requests. Is I look at their profile and then I'll connect, and then I'll immediately send them a message and say, thanks for connecting. And if I don't know them, I'll say, I'm just wondering what interested you to connect with me and how I might be able to help. It's what I call a magic message. I copy and paste it. And I had a guy come back to me and said, oh, I thought it would be good to connect. We might be able to endorse each other and build up our endorsements. And before I had a chance to mail him back and said, I can't do that. From a values point of view, I can't endorse you because we've never done work together. I'd suggest you go and ask your clients for endorsements. He endorsed me for about 7 skills. And it's just, I don't get it. I think it's wrong. But it's there, so I may as well utilize it. It shows you the numbers down here of endorsements you've had. And you can click and drag and change these around now in different priorities. So I have a client who's just started to speak and wants to get speaking engagements. So he's put speaking in one of the skills and he's dragged it to the top, and naturally people have started to endorse him because we tend to look at the top first. I don't have the time to thank people who've endorsed me, but the massive action is to build endorsements to at least this sort of block level, so that when people visit your profile, the snap judgment is, oh, they must be pretty good. So the way to do that, I believe the law of reciprocity says, you just go and endorse people you can genuinely endorse, and with some level people endorse you back. So there's a little bit about that. I would suggest mirroring the format, the order that I've got mine in. And so to recap, I've said you can probably set up different skill sections, even if you've just got one business, to maybe break down your products or your target market, and then you can capture recommendations for those separate areas, remembering that all your recommendations are then listed at the bottom of your profile as well. I want to show you a couple of the strategy things as well now. What else have I got that's really important within within LinkedIn. For most people, getting that headline and getting that summary right is the key areas. Now, I want to show you something. First of all, what about connecting? LinkedIn shows that you up to 500 plus connections. And I have someone the other day, only recently as well, said, well, I tend to be fussy over who I connect with. First of all, I pretty much connect with everybody. 98 out of 100 people that ask to connect with me, I connect with them. I go and look at their profile, and the reason that I connect with them is, you may have heard of the philosophy, the global philosophy called the 6 degrees of separation, that says we're no more than 6 contacts people away from anybody in the world. Who do you know that might know somebody that might know somebody? I'm 4 steps away from the Queen, in that I have a client who has a client that's a saddler, and they're the saddler to Prince Charles. So Prince Charles is step 3. My client, their client, Prince Charles as a client, obviously Charles to the Queen. And there's been all sorts of case studies where people have proven this philosophy of we're no more than 6 steps away from anybody in the world. If you Google that somewhere, apparently, my colleagues have told me, which is how we came up with our brand for the franchise, is that with LinkedIn now it's near at 3 degrees of separation. So you'll see we've called our franchise for LinkedIn trainers and coaches 3 degrees social. It allows us to work on other social media as well as just LinkedIn, but there's just so much work in demand for LinkedIn. So the reason I connect is it isn't just about you and I being connected. It's about who might you know, because you can go and look at my connections. I could hide them. Why on earth would I do that? I want people to connect with me. I want people to contact me. I want people to talk about me. I want people to refer me. So the reason I say 99 out of 100 or 98 out of 100 is recently, and this is true, I had someone offer to ask to connect. When I looked at their profile, they were a university student at Kuala Lumpur University with about 15 connections on 5. And I looked at it and thought, I can't see any way how they might be able to help me, my network, my contacts. They don't have many contacts, and it's a university student in Kuala Lumpur. So I didn't connect. But everybody else I do. And then I send that magic message if I don't really know them. I'll send a message that says, thanks for connecting. I'm just wondering what interested you to do so and how I might be able to help. And I probably get 2 or 3 responses out of every 10 or 15. And I think all the others probably get my message and go, I don't know, I was just connecting with people. I thought it was a good thing to do. But the moment someone replies to you, then you're engaged. You're engaging with them. I know what I mean. I had someone come back to me and he just said, I'm always looking for great speakers. Really? So I can go back to him now. What sort of speakers? Do you want to take this offline? Shall we have a chat? He was in Australia. I had a Skype call. I haven't been to Australia and done business yet, but I've got a contact there who now knows that I'm a speaker. We've got something in common. I have the connection. I have the conversation. So part of your strategy needs to be to ask everybody that connects with you, what made you connect and how might I help? And some of my other magic messages is when people connect with me, I might say, thanks for connecting. By all means, have a look at my connections. If there's anyone I can introduce you to, please just let me know. Because the more people I help, the more I'm going to get business reciprocally. So part of my strategy, and for those of you that got maybe less than 500 connections, is to be constantly connecting. Massive action might be I've got to connect lots. There will be a snap judgment decision by some people if they look at your number of connections and it's not many. They might ask how proactive are they, how professional are you, how well networked are you. And then consistently, I'm connecting constantly. So initially, you might go through that drawer of all your old business cards and go connect with them. Hey, we met 6 months ago at the meeting. I'm now starting to use LinkedIn more often. I thought we should connect on LinkedIn. So I want to be building my connections. And here's another reason why. I have 2,500 first-tier connections. So that's people I'm directly connected with. If you and I are connected, and you're connected to someone else and I'm not, they're known as my second-tier connection. And then if they're connected to someone I'm not, they're my third tier. Let me show you this. If you go into the advanced search here, you can search by people, companies, all sorts in the bar at the top here. If you click on this advanced search, providing LinkedIn doesn't spit its dummy, it says here that I've got 1.7 million results of first, second, and group members. Let's just take group members out, because I'm connected to some groups. I'm connected to one that's got 40,000 members. I don't know them all. So it distorts the figures a little bit. What it shows you here, look, is I have 2,577 first tier connections. That gives me 1.27 million second tier connections. I'm going to say that again, 1.27 million second tier connections. How many prospects do you ever need for 10 lifetimes of getting to people? I am yet to ask somebody to give me the name or a type of person they want to get to that I haven't been able to find as second tier connections. And I'm going to show you what I mean and how I mean. Because if I knew this when I was managing sales teams years ago or was a salesman, I'd have had a much easier, more profitable, richer life. You don't need to upgrade for this either. So let's take a keyword of sales directors. And let's put in, down the bottom, my postcode. And then what it allows you to do is search within a radius. So let's go 10 miles. Now I'm searching all of my first and second tier connections. And it is searching your profile, their profiles, for the word sales or director anywhere in their profile. So that's why you need to populate your summary with what you want to be found for. Now, this tells me I've got 327 first and second tier. So it tells you here this guy's first tier, Mary's a second tier. It tells me who the shared connection is. I've got 327 within 10 miles of where I live, according to their profile. When you put your home address in, or your address in your profile, 327 within 10 miles. Now, I might need to weed some wheat from chaff. I might need to look at her profile and go, actually, she's not someone I want to connect with. But if it is somebody, I mean, I've got 327. If I found 10 prospects of sales directors that I want to go and talk to say, hey, let me sell you LinkedIn training for your sales teams. If I found 10 out of those 327, by the way, you can only look at the first 100 unless you upgrade to premium. So it's another advantage of premium maybe at some point in the future. If I find 10 out of 327, how powerful is that? And this is better than buying databases in many ways, because I can search for property investors, which I'm not sure you can buy a database for because they're not sort of listed. People tend not to list it, but they will put in their LinkedIn profile that they're a property investor. Now, I could go and connect with Mary and say, hey, Mary, I could send out a connection request. I came across your profile. I noticed you connected to Paul Lewis, and you'll see, look, helping businesses start, and I've trained him. I noticed we're both connected with Paul. I thought we should connect. Or, hey, Mary, I came across your profile. I'm always looking to connect with executive PAs in the area. Thought we should connect. Now I could jump the system. Remember, my outcome is to get a conversation. I could call Paul if I knew him well enough. Say, hey, Paul, how well do you know Mary? Oh, I know her really well. Here's her mobile. Give her a call. Tell her we've spoken. Bingo. For me, this is where, certainly for salespeople, this is where it becomes unique and massively, massively powerful. That's the main reason I want to be constantly building connections. For those of you on this webinar, if you're not connected with me directly and you do not connect following this webinar, you need shooting because you're missing a massive trick, because you immediately build your second tier connections by 2,500, because I have 2,500 first tier connections, remember. So that search tool is just, I just think is absolutely stunning. So by all means, have a look around and have a play around with it. Just something else I'll show you just very quickly. If you go into someone else's profile, Steve is one of my franchisees. Oops. If I go into his profile there, you now have, and this is fairly new in the last year, you have a relationship button here where it lists all of the messages, all of the history that you've had in communication with him. I can click on note and I can add a new note, and only I can see that. So I can say, hey, he went on holiday to the Bahamas and his daughter just graduated from uni. I can set a reminder and type in there, follow up in a month, remember to speak about X, Y, and Z. I've now got a CRM system. I've now got a customer relationship management system, like my database in the office. I can now manage my contacts. I can now find them. I can now communicate to them. And so this become, I can keep notes on them. So I can start to run it like a CRM. For me, it's a lot more powerful. Very quickly, there's a tag facility here. LinkedIn call them tags. We call them groups. You can tag your contacts under different tags. So if I list it, I've got all sorts of different tag groups there. So I had a property investor client of mine wanted to find and connect with property developers, builders in London, and connect them with his Far East cash investors. So he tagged all his investors as Filipino investors, Malaysian investors, Chinese investors, and then he tagged all of his property developers in London. Now he can find them. So when I went into Best Western Hotel Group and trained their team and started to get connections all over the country from people within the Best Western Group, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens that I'm connected to, and I'm thinking, who's that general manager at the hotel in Chester? I can go into the tag, I can sort through them, and much better than my CRM system, that I might recognise a name, I can see the photo and go, ah, that's him, and I can go connect, I can go communicate. So it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. I appreciate that, because I'm just sort of shoehorning into an hour what I would go in-house to a client and spend a whole day working with their team on these strategies. But I wanted to give you the key things. Key things is to get a powerful profile, and that means crafting a powerful, full of whiffum headline that gets found and engages people, and write a summary that does the same. You want to constantly be connecting with people. I've got magic messages of how I send out and connect with people. I've got messages that I send out to people when they've asked to connect with me. I'll certainly be connecting constantly and always connecting to build that data, to build that list of connections, because it isn't about me being connected to you, it's about who you connected with, because I can so easily get to my second tier connection. And then it's about defining a strategy of what are you going to do consistently on an ongoing basis to utilize LinkedIn. At the front end, there might be massive action in different areas. You certainly want to build up your connections, you certainly want to capture recommendations, but then it becomes more of a consistency thing rather than a massive action thing, to be weekly, monthly basis connecting with people and capturing recommendations. There's a few other things on there, just very quickly while we've got a couple of minutes left. Groups, my take on groups is I need to be careful that it doesn't take a lot of my time like surfing the internet. But go and connect, go and join the groups. Go and join the groups where your prospects hang out. I can never understand why an accountant might join 10 accountancy groups. By all means, join one if you want to keep on top of industry news, but go and join the groups where your prospects hang out. So, as an accountant, and you want to sell to business owners, go and join the Chamber of Commerce group. Go and join the local business owners group, and then you can participate in those. You can add value. It's about adding value. So, if I see someone post a question, how can I get more business out of LinkedIn? I'm going to jump straight in there and help them, and then take the conversation offline. So that's my take on groups. Companies that I follow tend to be my own companies, or my clients' companies, or big prospects. So I'll follow the company so I can look at the news streams and look at their news, so that when I sit down with them, sit down with the chief exec, I can talk. I can talk about their business. So it allows me to develop a lot more rapport. And what else? Any other key things really to dispel any myths? I just want to reinforce that it's an online networking tool, and your aim is to get a conversation. Yes, you can mass market out with it to a level, but be very, very careful about the messages you send. Every connection, every invite you send out, rule number one, you need to personalize that message. Don't just send connect and let it send that default message of, I'd like to add you to my professional network. I think it's crass and unprofessional. There's another one in the system somewhere that says, since you're a person I trust, I'd like to add you to my network. And someone sent me that, and I went back to them, I connected with them, of course I do, and said, how can you trust me? We don't know each other. And then we've got a conversation going. So make sure you personalize every message. So a tip, you can't do that on the apps, you can't do that on the iPad and the iPhone. If you click connect, it just sends a message. So I wait until I get back to the office before I send out any connection requests. So every one of my connection requests are personalised, unless I know that person well and obviously I might. But my rule is every connection request is personalised, and then also people that connect with me, I then send them a message. What made you connect? How can I help? And if I know them, then I'll send them a message, thanks for connecting. So you need to make it personal because it's a personal profile. I don't have time to talk about the jobs section on there, which is hugely powerful. The vast majority of recruitment agents use LinkedIn to advertise jobs and to headhunt for candidates. I haven't touched on company pages because for me, to be perfectly honest, most of my coaching clients that I might coach for 12 weeks, we work on their personal profile and their personal strategy. And I know from experience that you guys have now got plenty to do before touching that. And as I say, I've had to shoehorn a one-day workshop into this hour or 12-week coaching program. What will happen following this webinar is we'll send you out a message, and there'll be a couple of links in there for if you're interested in how I might be able to help you further, especially if you're seriously looking at utilising LinkedIn. And I do get asked how much time do you spend on it. Well, of course, it changed from right at the beginning to where it is now, but I'm utilising it all day. You'll see up here in this inbox, I've now got 4 invitations from people to connect, and that was empty this morning. So I'm utilising LinkedIn as a key part of all my business operations, really. So if you are interested in doing that and you really want to focus on working on all of this and you think I can help you over a 90-day coaching period, then just respond and we can obviously talk through that. There's also then a link coming on there about the 3 Degrees Social franchise opportunity. I'm excited about it. We've just had a session this morning with our franchisees, and one lady's just run her first open workshop down in London. They were in a wonderful club and they had champagne after, and there's a coach there who's referred her into business schools and all sorts. The demand is just huge. It's stunned her. She's excited, saying there is just so much demand. And I can confidently say we're looking for people that might be interested in adding it alongside their other business or what they're doing, where you can easily make 40 grand a year part-time and easily 100 grand a year plus full-time. I've got models and I've got associates around me that we've proven that. So if that might be of interest in finding out more, then again, just reply and we can talk about that. I want to congratulate you again for making the time investment to take time out of the day and look at something new, because it's here to stay. If you're not utilising it, you're missing massive opportunities. And actually, just by making some of these changes, you now put yourself, I think, in probably the 2% of people that are utilising LinkedIn effectively. So I want to congratulate you for that. It's up to you now to take the massive action of the right stuff consistently, use it or lose it. And by all means, as I say, connect with me, let me know however else we can help. And I wish you all the best in your work and in your businesses. Thanks very much, everybody.